everybody, I'm Mrs. K from the Arcadia Public Library, and welcome to Funology. This is a program where we show you the simple steps you need to take, as well as all the materials you'll need to do a fun project at home. Today's project is about making a homemade photo album. This is a great gift idea. So let's get started with our project. Here are the materials you're going to need for this project. You need one piece of cardstock, 8.5 by 11. You'll need 7 different pieces of colored paper. You'll need some print photographs, a pair of scissors. If you have them, you could use some craft scissors as well, a ruler, a pencil, glue stick or tape. The first step will be to cut your cardstock in half. One half is going to be the bottom of your photo album and the other half is going to be your top. So if you can either measure or perhaps just fold it in half and follow the crease to cut it in half. Set those aside. Your papers you're going to need to cut down to size so that they'll fit inside of your photo album. So you can use one of your cardstock pieces. You can actually put all 7 of your papers together and do this all at once. What I would do is just put this along the corner like that so that it lines up, and take your pencil and just trace so that you know what size to cut your papers down to. And you should be able to just cut them all at once. If that's too much, you could try cutting them fewer papers at a time if you want it to come out a little neater. Looks like I'm getting this a little bit messy, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so as you can see, the papers fit pretty well inside the front, the top and bottom of my photo album now. Okay, let's go ahead and just get rid of that scrap. Now, here's a sample of a finished photo album. You can see I have my cardstock on top that's a little bit shorter than the bottom. The cardstock on the bottom is here. And this one is cut a little bit shorter. So I believe that that is a 6-inch. Let's test it here. Yes, that's going to be 6 inches. So go ahead and take one of your cardstock and measure off 6 inches on the top and on the bottom. You can connect those 2 marks with your ruler, draw it down, and then you can cut this on that line so that you could have your top of your photo album be a little bit shorter. Okay, so that's going to fit there. All right. So now we have our top and bottom of our photo album ready to go, other than decorating. Now what we're going to do is create the inside of the photo album. In this photo album you can see that it starts with a shorter page and then each page gets a little bit longer. So what I would do is measure each page about a half an inch less than the previous one. So let's take our pile of papers, and the top one is going to end up being the bottom sheet. So let's not cut that one down at all. Let's leave that the same length as the bottom. So this is going to be our bottom page that goes right against the bottom of our photo album. The next one we want to be just a little bit shorter. So let's measure a half inch from the edge for that one. Take your ruler and just put the half inch at the end and mark a mark. Do the same thing at the top. Half an inch. As we did before, line up those 2 marks with your ruler and you can cut that. We'll cut that a little bit later because I'm going to use my craft scissors. What I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to turn that over. Oops. And do the next one. Now that one we measured off half an inch, so for the next paper let's measure off 1 full inch. So there's an inch. Again, we mark it here. Mark it here. Line up our marks, and we'll cut that one there. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this. This one's going to be 1.5 inches. The next one will mark 2 inches, 2.5, and 3 inches. Okay, so for each one, after you've marked where to cut it, if you have some special craft scissors, that's great. These cut like different designs, and it makes it a lot easier. If you don't, though, go ahead and just cut it with regular scissors first, and you could just leave it straight if you want, or you could just use your regular scissors to create some sort of pattern on the edge, just for an artistic effect. See how that has a nice artistic effect. Now, since I'm lucky enough to have these special craft scissors, I'm going to use a different one for each paper, just for a nice effect. And then you're going to continue that for every paper. Once you've cut all 7 of your papers, put them back in order. And now it's time to put the front of our photo album on the front and add the last piece of paper and the bottom of the photo album so that we have our whole photo album assembled. The next step is going to be to punch some holes so that we can insert our ribbon to keep everything all together. I would start by punching 3 holes near the edge, not too near the edge, of your front, and then use that as a pattern for the rest of the papers. Be sure to keep the papers in order and in the same direction facing that you're going to have them. Otherwise, your hole punches might not measure up, they might not line up. You might need to do it in 2 steps or even 3 or 4 steps, depending on how strong you are. You can see it's sometimes taken me a little bit of work to get the hole punch through the papers. But you're going to need to do a hole punch on the same exact position on all of your papers as well as the front and back. Now you can see that mine didn't quite line up after I was finished, so I'm just going to go ahead and punch it one more time through all of them so I have some nice neat holes that are in the same position for all of the papers as well as the front and back of the photo album. Once that's done, it's time to add the ribbon so that we can tie it all together. I recommend measuring off 2 pieces of ribbon. My ruler is 15 inches. You could do 15 inches, or you could do it a little bit smaller if you like. Depends on how much you'd want to be hanging off it when you're done. But cut 2 pieces of ribbon that are the same length. Now it's time to tie the ribbon and finish up our photo album. So go ahead and insert one end of the ribbon through the middle hole, and the other end of that same ribbon through a hole on the edge. Pull both of them through, take the second ribbon, push one end through the hole on the other edge, make sure it goes all the way through. You're going to take the other end of that ribbon and put it also through the middle hole. You might need to move the other ribbon around, kind of pull it taut a little bit to be able to get it through the same hole. Make sure both ends of each ribbon are even. Line them up. Then it's time to turn over the photo album so that you can tie the knot on the other side of the photo album. So just flip it over. You can see that I have 2 pieces of ribbon in each hand. I'm going to tie a knot with those. So one time around, pull it tight so that you don't have gaps on the other side, and then push it through again to tie your knot. As soon as you get that finished, tie it nice and tight. Make sure it's all tight on both sides, no gaps on the other side as well. And you can see you have a little bit of ribbon for a nice decorative effect. And our photo album is finished. You can see that each of the pages is successfully larger, and we're ready to add our photos. Now, there are really no rules as to how you need to put your photographs in. You're not going to have the same size photographs as I do, probably. You can always use smaller ones or larger ones, but you need to make sure that they're all going to fit on the size of paper that you have. You can see that this photo is too big for the black paper, so we'll need to save that for later. That one's a little bit too big, but it fits just enough. So make sure to plan where you're going to put all your photos before you start pasting any of them in. As you can see, I'm putting all my photos in the right place. when you're ready to put them in, you can use either tape or glue, or if you have some other paste, that's fine. If you like to use tape, I would recommend taking a piece and just kind of rolling it with the sticky side out. Then you're going to put that onto the back of the photograph and use that to make it adhere to your paper. Okay, that's our project for today. I hope you had fun. Remember, as always, that you can make this project your own. You don't have to follow the instructions explicitly. And for example, you could use more than one photograph on a paper. You could cut out significant portions in different shapes and make a collage. Whatever you do, just make sure you make it your own and have fun. I'll see you next time on Funology. Bye-bye.